Our next conversation that's going to come up is going to be Paul Gampe. He's the Chief Technology Officer over at Console Connect. So, Paul, come on out. All right.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and congratulations for those of you who got up at this hour of the morning and were able to make it today's session. I'm sure you enjoyed last night's celebrations, and congratulations to everybody who won an award. It was great to be a part of that ceremony. I'm going to spend a few minutes this morning talking a little bit about a project that we think is really important, particularly after the panel session that we've just had. We've heard about the impact of AI. We've heard about the impact of, I think, Gorkam's comment at the end there about what do developers and enterprises really want? They want APIs. And I know that you've probably heard thousands of statistics about how the API economy is so important. It's driving the evolution of our industry. And so let me conclude by adding in a small comment that is really material from our point of view, is that McKinsey forecasts that between $100 billion and $300 billion will be enabled by the API economy just for network as a service from 2025 to 2027. $100 billion to $300 billion. That's a huge impact on our industry. And it's a different go-to-market strategy. And let me give you a little bit about our lived experience, because what we've encountered at Console Connect is that those partners who integrate directly with our API are the ones that consume the most services. So do I believe that this $100 billion to $300 billion forecast is correct? Yes, I do, because it's the lived model that we see. The barrier to consumption is reduced once you've completed that integration of an API. In platform economics, they refer to two different types of economic models. You've got your transaction platforms and your innovation platforms. And what I think we're entering into in an era of which Gorkam described as middle miles, the Megaports, the Packet Fabrics, the Console Connects, that provide on-ramps into cloud environments, is the emergence of a programmable destination. What the enterprises are trying to do, what our customers are trying to do with the Console Connect platform, is get payloads into cloud or get payloads out of cloud or reduce latency between clouds. And they do that provisioning of an AI instance in a cloud environment via API, whether it's Terraform or Ansible, some sort of programmable interface. They want to be able to do the network as well. And so that's the experience that we've had at Console Connect. And so yes, I believe this forecast is correct. I think that's the way that we're going to see consumption occur. And it's great to see the panel earlier today talking about the exact instantiation of a network as a service means consumption by API. That's what the enterprises are expecting. So why am I on stage today? Just to reaffirm what the panel said, or to actually present something of value to the MEF community. I'm here on stage today to talk about an open source software project that we're announcing. We've talked a little bit about it at the media event on Monday afternoon. For anybody who's dropped by our booth, you would have had a chance to see it. We fundamentally believe that this is the way that this community needs to interact, that we want to give back to this community by open sourcing a piece of software that we think is really critical. Part of the power of the Console Connect platform is the fact that we can reach into over 900 data centers worldwide. That footprint of on-ramps and the 250 destinations of cloud on-ramps that we've been able to get to, we can do so because we program partners' networks. And the ability to program a partner's network can be a one-time, very expensive transaction, or it can be a repeatable, low-cost, low-impact implementation. And as we've gone through the journey of expanding the Console Connect platform over the last 10 years, we've encountered consistently that those partners who've adopted a MEF, LSO, Sonata API are the easiest to integrate with. And so from a buy side and from a sell side, we want to continue to lower that barrier to adoption, because that's what the end enterprise want. They want to be able to choose a network as a service provider, reach any destination that they need to get to, whether that's a cloud, whether that's an edge SIM, whether that's a data center. They want to be able to get to those destinations, and they want to be able to do seamlessly from a single application. I think the panel did a great job of talking about what's the enterprise expectation. The enterprise expectation is a single provider, a single pane of glass, a programmable interface that's repeatable and scalable and gets to all the destinations that they want. And as a community, we're not going to be able to do that unless we collaborate. And MEF has given us a forum to collaborate around how we're going to integrate those networks. So 2 things that you learn when you're involved in software engineering and network engineering. 1, never ask an engineer to name a project. And 2, never ask your CEO when he wants that project delivered. So here I am on stage announcing the Kraken project, delivered today. Really excited to do it. If you don't get a chance to see some of the engineers that we have here today, we'll definitely be ensuring that we make all of this material available to everybody after the presentation and after the conference. We're really focused on a piece of software that's easy to use. So we're adopting a low-code model, and it's really specific. One of the things you learn about the open source software community is that you need to be very focused in your tools. Solve one thing and solve it well. This is an adapter. That's exactly what it's designed to do, and that's what you will see if you get a chance to see a demo. Jeremy did a live demo yesterday, and my engineers were encouraging me to do one today, so I've chosen not to do it, but we'll have a chance to show you a demo later if you come by our booth. One of the questions that we get asked all the time is, why would you go open source? And we have some of our field team here with us this week, and so asking them, so how's it going selling free software? It's all about participation. The quality of code improves with use, and so the value that this project brings to all of us is through its use. The quality of code improves with use. We want to be able to foster collaboration. This is not a competitive advantage for anybody. The more people who can use this piece of software, the better the industry is. It's not about Console Connect, it's not about the partners that we program, it's about how do we enable a community. And so by adopting an open license, aligned with an open standard methodology, means that anybody can contribute, and that's really key. We want to drive adoption. The more people who use the software, the better it gets. And finally, we want to enable, irrespective of where you are in your journey of adoption to a network as a service platform. Recently, Pascal and Nan asked me to form a Southeast Asia Council, and we're beginning to get a community of carriers and network service providers in Southeast Asia together. And the more time I spend with that community, I realize that onboarding into this network as a service paradigm, everybody's at a different point in the journey. Some are leading, some are lagging, and it's a complex arena. And so to help all of the carriers globally to participate in this community, we need to lower that barrier to entry. Standards are a great way to do that. Once you understand a standard, you can implement a standard, but what if I can even get a piece of software that does it? Isn't that even better? So that's why we've been motivated to adopt an open source software license, so that everybody can use this code. Many eyes make all bugs shallow, and the more people who can contribute to the software, the better it's going to be in terms of meeting expectations for our community. The APIs that we've chosen to integrate with and deliver in this first batch are the key ones to getting through that quote ordering. In the case of Console Connect and other network as a service platforms is provisioning. So the full life cycle, you can hit an API endpoint, you can get a quote, you can get an order, and you can provision. And again, adopting the MEF LSO Sonata API standards has been our primary objective. What does it look like? So as you can see here, we do at least have good designers, not just code names. This is a lightweight demo that if you come and buy the booth, and we'll give you a chance to see the software, it's very easy to use. The user interface you see here is in 3 parts. The piece on the left shows you the state of the engine as a control plane and a data plane. There's a middle panel shows you the inbound API, which would be the MEF LSO Sonata API. And the right panel shows you your proprietary API. We started developing Console Connect over 10 years ago. And MEF didn't have standards for cloud connectivity to AWS Direct Connect at that time. So naturally, we've had to produce APIs that don't meet LSO standards. And like many standards organizations, they need to align to a specific point in time, adapt and do another version. So there'll always be this disconnect between where the standards organizations are, where the lagging or leading indicators are in terms of the APIs you may be implementing. And so an adapter class is a common software pattern that shields you from those state transitions that a standard is going to go through. So what you see here is we're mapping a Sonata order endpoint into the Console Connect version of that endpoint. And not only are we mapping the APIs, we're also mapping the payloads. In the concept of a LSO Sonata API, it's called a biller ID. In Console Connect, we call it company ID. At the time when we were first building the API, we didn't know that there was a standard. It's evolved since we started development, and so now you can see that we've been able to map that effectively and efficiently. And no longer are we locked or held back by evolution of the MEF standard. As it evolves, we simply deploy a new version of the mapping, and our existing investment in our infrastructure and our BSS and our OSS remains intact. This is a great resilience and why you see these adapter classes so common in software engineering. So what the Kraken application here, this user experience that you see here is doing, it's building a configuration file which maps from the source to the destination, both at the API and at the payload, and then it pushes that configuration, you deploy it down to a data plane. That's a small piece of software that basically sits as an API proxy, receives the inbound request, knows how to transition state, and then makes the call onwards. Very simple. I'm sure once your developers get a chance to download the project, it'll be quite clear to them what we're trying to achieve, because this is a design pattern that we've had to implement both for ourselves and for the partners networks that we're building our ecosystem around. Why is it important for us to be here today, and why we've chosen to announce the launch of this project at MEF is because this is a community that we know gets it. And so through the NAS Accelerator program, a project called Clear Shadow, we're making this available to the community to have a forum to approach us. If there's any questions that you have in terms of how to implement it, any suggestions you have for the roadmap, or even better, any developers that you would like to introduce the project to ensure that they can contribute, we'd love to have this as part of the MEF ecosystem. As a company, we strongly believe in the NAS Federation ecosystem model. We want to be a part of it, and we want to be able to an active contributor to it. And so this is how we've chosen to bring this project to bear as part of the NAS Federation ecosystem. I hope all of you appreciate that this is key for our strategy. Hopefully it's key for your strategy. We think it's a really important beginning and aligning open source with open standards. The implementation wins in the end. And by having the source code available to all of you and having the opportunity to co-develop the roadmap of the features that you may need, we think we've created an opportunity to really give back to a community that we hold in high regard and proud to be a part of. Thank you very much.